So the key to your E46, or I guess anything with the diamond key, isn't working. I'll show you how that's done, because let me tell you how much I've missed having this damn thing working. So with no further ado, here we go. Please watch this whole video before you go and cut the key apart. Alright, so said I told you how to do it, so here it is. So I actually have a couple of things here. This is actually the key to the 330, the key to the M3 split into a couple of different pieces here. Now you have a couple of different ways to go about doing this, so I'll go over all of them. Now the way that it was done with this key here, the key had been taken apart before I had it, so I ripped it back apart, taking a knife and actually going under here and cutting off these spot welds right here. This is actually what the OEM one looks like. It's got those spot welds on either side. Put a new non-rechargeable battery into, which is what was done with this key. This has like an Energizer, I think it's 2020 battery in it. And it works fine. So that is an option if that's what you want to do. And then since it was already destroyed around the edges right here, I took the easy route. I took a piece of tape from here and then wrapped it very tightly around the battery like that, so that the battery would stay in place and sit up in there the way that I wanted it to. And then wrapped a string of tape around it, and that's what's holding it together right now, and that works fine for that key. So that's one way of doing the entire thing and putting it back together. Now what I opted to do with the M3 key here, because I wanted this one to be a little bit nicer, is, and to get into these keys, should probably have started off with this. So obviously they're going to be closed like this and they don't just pop open. You're going to need to take an X-Acto or some sort of blade, and it takes actually a fair amount of work, but you have to work it in between these edges here, and you have to cut all the way around the key until it can come apart into two pieces. I found it easiest to do with something like this. So it may take a little while, but eventually you'll get it, and you just want to be careful. You don't want to be sticking the knife, when you're cutting the edges right here. You don't want to be sticking the knife all the way in, because you could damage some of the electronics and stuff. Now, once you have it apart like this, odds are the board's not just going to fall out. They're not stuck in there, but they're kind of held in there a little bit. So just take your knife, whatever you used, and just kind of gently pick it up from that one side there. And there you go. Now your board is free. I ordered a replacement. Here's the OEM battery, and here's a replacement battery with the contacts already welded on and the little connectors already sitting in the right places. So that was like $8, and I ordered it from China. So and it works fine. So I think that's the best way to do it. Here's your two soldered joints right here. This is your first one, and this is the second one. So what you're going to want to do is hold this board between something else like a pair of pliers or a vise. You don't want to squish it, but you don't really want to be holding it so you can catch the battery. And then you're just going to take a solder gun with some sort of smaller tip on it, and you just want to touch this for a second, the solder will melt. Touch this for a second, the solder will melt, and it should fall right out. Two little holes right here where the contacts go in, and you're just going to want to take this so that it's sitting with the contacts in the holes. And what I did is I took a wrench and just kind of cinched it on there so it was holding it like so, right on the end like that, and it would melt it and the contact would go up through. It works. So that's, I think, the nicest and cleanest way to go about that part. And there's actually two little grooves right where my thumb is, and right on the other side here that match up with grooves in the board. Putting it back in is a process sometimes when it doesn't want to cooperate. There you go. So now it's sitting in there again nicely. To put this key back together, because like I said, I'd like this one to remain a little bit nicer. This is like a gel super glue basically that's clear, so you're just going to kind of put it on here, and here's the other way. So if you wrap your key up with tape here, for like $5 on eBay you can get these little silicone covers. You put that over and the key still looks pretty nice even though it's held together with tape, quite literally. And I'll show you that this one works with that non-rechargeable battery inside. It looks great. The edges still look pretty clean. Leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Don't let BMW take your money if it's a simple fix. Peace.